Vasu can, yeah, thank you.
Shiva, I've got few questions. Should I email to you or what is it like? Because I don't want to waste others' time as well. But
Okay, let's see for 3 to 4 minutes if someone else is joining us. Okay, otherwise, what we'll try to do is that if no one else is joining us, you can shoot me your questions. Okay, we'll try to discuss in the session. Okay, and still something is there which isn't clarified. Okay, what we can do is that you can drop me an email. I'll get back to you. And I
okay.
hope you got the software and the material, the Linux and the software, and it's a JBoss software.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, thanks for this.
No problem. And remember, when you're trying to download the VDF files, okay, ensure that the I think the second email other than the JBoss, okay,
Yeah,
I also
yeah.
shared the Linux VDF file, which is a
Okay.
RAR. I kept it as a RAR file, and I have uploaded it. So you have to use a WinRAR file to extract that, okay.
Yeah,
And second
yeah.
thing is that ensure that the internet isn't getting disconnected. The problem here
Okay.
is that if the internet get disconnected, there's a chance the file might be corrupted.
Okay. Okay. Sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
Cool. Cool.
I'll be back in a minute.
No problem. Take your time. Manju, are you there? Are you
Yeah, yeah.
back?
I'm back. Yeah, back.
I think these people are yet to join. I think we'll first take up your question. Let's see if someone is joining us. Otherwise, after your questions, I'll quickly continue my session. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shiva, one of the guys have already downloaded the zip file for the installation, And
Okay.
how do we know whether I know if it's a community edition, it will be the application server AS version or something like that, and if it's EAP, that would be the licensed one, is it?
Yep, yep.
Okay, so if we are unzipping the file,
Mm.
it will how can we generate an auto XML file with that?
That isn't possible with zip file.
Mm-hmm.
That isn't possible with the zip file.
Okay, yeah.
Or a .xml file with a zip file isn't possible because in case if you got a zip, installer as a zip file, what will happen here is that, okay, you're not doing the installation, you're just simply unzipping the uh, contents. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
they either that has to give it to you, okay, or it should be embedded in the product. But both of the scenarios are not possible, so you don't have that auto.xml file comfort.
Okay, but other than that, it's good as a normal installation, isn't it?
It's as good as you do the normal installation. Nothing different. As I said, okay, it's something like it's something like okay. I'm not sure before you went to UK how long you have been in UK. But let's say that if you talk about the a typical Indian middle class family, okay, not right now, okay. If you see 10 to 15, not even 15 years back, I'll say 20 years back, okay, 20
Mm-hmm.
years back, if you see in a typical middle class family, let's say that I want to do an shifting of my house. So what we do, we used to have that rice bags,
Mm.
not the one that you get nowadays, which is in
Jute
kind of a
ones.
plastic one. Okay, the jute ones, yeah,
Yeah.
the jute ones. We used to dump all of our utensils, the
Mm.
goods, the gas, everything into that. We tie it up. Okay, we hire a trolley and we take it to the new house. The
Mm.
trend right now is that we don't take that headache. We call it packers and movers. They neatly put it into some into this
Boxes.
what call. Sorry.
The cardboard boxes and all.
Yes, they put it into that boxes. Okay, and once they keep it, they come to the they take that one. Okay, come to the destination place and they unpack it for me. Okay, so either in case one or case two. Okay, the only difference is that there I'm trying to use in age-old jute bags. Okay, here I'm using the cardboards. Okay, the only difference. That
Mm.
looks little old-fashioned. This looks little bit posh. But if
Mm-hmm.
you ask me, Shiva, is there any difference in how the concept of shifting euros? There's hardly any difference. There I pack it, here also I pack it. There I pack it in a jute, okay, here I pack it in the cardboard. Except that hardly any the difference.
Okay, okay.
Able to
And
relate the example?
yes, yes. Um,
Okay.
you mean like it's in more readable or more understandable form, that's
That's
all.
a more
Without
posh
it.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a more posh way and an easy way. Okay,
Okay.
but if you're trying to download the software from a Red Hat Linux, okay, at least I'm not sure whether you get the zip file because most of the time when, frankly speaking, personally, our company doesn't have any licensed contact with the Red Hat, but when I work with the clients, okay, when
Mm.
they want to do an installation or a setup, not right now, at least for one and a half year, I'm not doing that. But before
Mm-hmm.
that, I used to work as an installation services lead. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so in that scenario, what happens is that by any chance, if my team's members, okay, I have put them into some on-sites, and if there is an offshore customer who's comfortable to do an online installation of our product, then what we used to do is that we used to even do the installation. So in those scenarios, I used to see I used to see them giving me an access to the Red Hat portal, the licensed. They used to log into the Red Hat portal, and they used to ask me which is the software I need to pick up. So
Yeah.
most of the time, what I've seen is that their file is in the form of a jar format. Most of
Yeah,
the time.
the problem here is like usually even for WebSphere we used to go to the portal and download things, but
Hmm.
the issue here we are having is the Unix wants to install, I mean get the binaries, so they are doing from the Red Hat satellite server, right? So
Oh,
when they do yum install,
okay.
so it's getting directly, it's downloading these binaries into different folders wherever it wants, like by default.
Yeah, I mean, so again, it's company to company, the process varies. Okay, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the concept, other things remains the same.
Okay.
Question number 2.
I've I've installed it on elsewhere, not in my personal computer with this software you have sent. But what I've seen is like the installation and everything is fine. But while accessing the management console, and I created two users, the management user and the admin user.
Application.
With the sorry, application user with the I'm just in a sleepy mode. It's 3 o'clock for me.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
really
the
sorry.
reason. No, it's my bad. So created the management real and the application real, and
Mhm.
when I'm trying to access through the Internet Explorer, I changed the port offset and everything like that. And when I try to access on the IE, I could access the admin console or application console, whatever. The other management console, right? It's asking me to enter the management real username password, and it's
Okay.
not clicking in. Even though I'm giving the right username and password, it's just asking me to enter again and again. So I tried a couple of times, and I changed the offset and things like that, and also tried to add the users without being added as a management realm or something like that. By default, it's taking as a management realm. So what I did was, like, I tried on Firefox, and it's taking in properly, and I could log into the management console. So is there anything I need to set on the IE, or what is the problem here exactly? I don't understand.
Can you send me the log files? Because the issue seems to be very strange, okay? Because at least Red Hat, WebSphere, WebLogic, Tomcat, these fellows are not dependent upon the type of browser you are trying to use. They are more dependent
Mm.
upon the JDK you have got. If you see the age-old WebLogic or a WebSphere version, okay, they still have a dependency on the JDK. You have it on your browser, okay? And you see that every browser has a Java applet, okay?
Mm.
So that is what is being dependent. But this seems to be very strange, because if I understand your question correctly, you're saying that Shiva install the JBoss, I created in management user and application user, and post that I'm trying to access the application, sorry, the public interface. I'm getting that, but I'm trying to access the management interface. It's asking me to enter the username and password. So when I'm trying to enter case one, if I enter it in the IE, it's keep on again popping up asking me to enter the username and password. But the same thing if I'm trying to do it on a Firefox or Chrome, the moment I enter once, that's it. I get into the console. What could be the problem? A
Yeah.
little bit strange to me. Just send me the log files. I'll see and confirm to you. The server log file that is there. Okay, just send me that. But
Uh,
if you ask me my experience, this seems to be very strange for me.
okay. I'm thinking of some security settings on the, in the company itself, like, which is not allowing me to go through. I don't know. Anyway, I'll send you. The reason I want to resolve this is, like, some companies will be more reluctant to use the other browsers other than the IE for,
Yeah,
their security
nine.
purposes or
Yeah,
things like that. So
yeah, but true, 100% true. IE is something that's a default. If you see
yeah.
some typical applications, okay, the HR portal applications, couple of them will not even support that. For example, if you take the Indian PF, EPF or PF one, okay, they
Mm-hmm.
said they put a strict restriction saying that it's not supported on Chrome or Firefox like that. Great, no problem. Just send me the log files, I'll confirm. So if the question one and question two is answered, can I have the question three?
I think someone is waiting for us. We'll ask them.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry, I couldn't see Venu. Venu, you're there. Can you able to hear us? You have any questions for me on what are the topics we have discussed till now? Venu, can you hear us? Just acknowledge me in the chat window if you can hear us and if you have any questions. If you have any questions, you can unmute and you can ask me. Or if you're comfortable typing in, that's even okay with me. Okay. Okay. Silence, I'll assume no questions from Venu. Let's continue our session. Manju, what we can do is that you can email me your questions, okay, the other questions, or tomorrow morning when we start the session, I will discuss on that. Okay?
Okay, and also about your question yesterday to find out how to increase the JVM heap size. I've seen this, there is a setting under the server configurations on the console wherein you have to define the JVM, get to define the JVM definition or something, and there you can specify the heap size you want, max heap
Correct.
size or something like that.
Correct. Okay.
Okay.
So if you see here,
But that's for the domain, right? The master and the server groups and server configurations. I'm not sure if it is there in standalone mode, like.
okay, I'll show you. I'll show you. No
Yeah.
problem. Strange instance system. Yeah, instance system. Domains. Yeah, it's available up and running. What's the port is picking up? 9992. Oh. Okay. Here is one where we try to give of our JVM related arguments under the configuration tab. In the domain
Okay.
mode, we'll talk about that once we start the domain mode, probably either today or tomorrow. Okay.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
So anyone, any questions? Good. Silence, I'll assume no questions. Let me continue. Anyone remembers what was the last topic we talked about?
The deployments.
Cool. Yeah. So if you see here, okay, let me change the color back. Before we start, Vinny, you have any questions? Vinny, before we start, do you have any questions? Okay, silence, I'll assume you don't have any questions. Okay, let me continue. So if you see here, yesterday we talked about theoretically, if I remember correctly, then theoretically we talked about what is meant by deployment. Okay, that's the concept of deployment. Okay, and what are the different ways of doing a deployment? I told that in case of a standalone mode, okay, although we have 5 different ways of doing the deployment, in case of a standalone mode, whenever you want to do the deployment, you can either invoke the GUI tool called as an admin console, okay, the GUI tool called as an admin console. In JBoss we call it as an management console. Okay, log into the management console, click on the deployments, okay, whatever the list of var or EFS you want, you can deploy it. Or we can use the deployments folder available under the standalone home deployments directory. That's another way of doing the deployment. Okay, or if you still aren't comfortable with either of the ways, then by default JBoss gives you an out-of-box utility called as an JBoss CLI, JBoss command line interaction tool. So what we can do with this particular tool is that I have a method called as a deploy method. I can do the deployment using the CLI also. So as I said yesterday, okay, CLI we wouldn't be talking about that CLI now. Okay, we'll be pushing that one to next week where we have a dedicated session on the CLI. There I'll be talking in detail about that. Okay. So anyone, any questions still here? I think Satish is also in. Satish, you have any questions? Still, whatever the topic we have talked about or discussed? Cool. So no questions from Manju, Satish and Venu. So let me continue. So before we try to understand how do we do the deployments, okay, from the or using the deployments folder, we'll first understand how do we do the deployment from the GUI tool called as an admin console. So to do that, I need an var file. Okay, let me see if I have anything on my desktop. Give me a minute. Let me to check that. There should be one test.var file for me, which I created very long back. Okay, I currently not able to find it. Let me download it from the Google. One second, guys. I got it. Everyone able to see my screen now? I am showing you an admin console. Everyone able to see that?
Yeah.
Good. So now I want to do the deployment. Okay. So when you want to do the deployment, okay, what you can do is that, okay, you simply, one of the simple and the easiest way is that log into the admin console, click on the deployments tab. Once you click on the deployments tab, you see something called as an add here. Click on that and provide the path where you got your var or er files. Okay, I got a var file called as an example.var file, which I've chosen, which is available on the local machine from where I invoked my admin console. Everyone able to understand? Yesterday we talked about what exactly is meant by the concept of deployment. I also told that, okay, my JBoss application server supports only certain formats of deployment files. I can't take a .html file and ask my JBoss to do the deployment. I can't take an let's say a zip file and ask my WebSphere to do the deployment. WebSphere supports certain JBoss supports certain kinds of deployment packages. Only those you can deploy it. Okay, those are var and your jar files. So, or your ER files. So after we discussed about that, I told that you can do the deployment inside a standalone mode in multiple ways. Okay, one of the way which is simple, easy, comfortable to every one of us is the management console. I log into the management console from a machine, okay, which suppose the GUI app which has a browser installed, and what I can do is that I can go to the deployments tab, Okay, after go to the deployments tab, click on add, select the path where you have your application. I have an application called as an example.var, okay, on one of the path of my local file system where I'm accessing my from where I'm accessing my admin console. Select that and click on next. Clear? Anyone? Any questions still here?
Yeah.
Venu, Satish, Manju.
No fear.
Okay, cool. So if you don't have any questions, let me continue. Okay, so if you see guys who are from the WebSphere background, they might be thinking that Shiva, isn't not possible that I can select a network path. If you see in a WebSphere or in a WebLogic, you have a flexibility to select the network path in the sense that if you see my JBoss is running on a Linux machine, but this admin console I try to invoke it from my Windows operating system. Okay, and I have flexibility in case of a WebLogic or WebSphere to pick up the var files either from my my Unix machine or either from my Linux machine, my Windows machine. That kind of a flexibility you don't have it here. Clear?
Okay.
Click on next. Once you click on next, okay, you can leave with the default name, or if you want, okay, you can give whatever the name you want. Okay. The moment you click on save, okay, what will happen is that the first phase of deployment will be completed. Clear? The moment you click on save, the first phase of deployment will be completed. So what do you mean by phase level deployment? Very simple. Whenever you're trying to do the deployment, okay, the moment I click on save now, what will happen is the first phase of deployment will be completed in the sense that the application will be loaded into the server. The server will try to perform sanity check if there is any problem with the var file. Once you click on save, okay, there is an enable button. Everyone able to see that?
Yeah.
Unless until you don't click on enable button, this application isn't accessible to anyone and everyone. Okay, so that's the next, the second phase of deployment. So if you see the deployment in the JBoss application server, the deployment inside the JBoss application server happens in two phases. Okay, the first phase where we try to select the application. The second phase, once the application is being deployed, okay, unless until we don't click on enable, the application isn't accessible to anyone, including the administrators. Clear?
Okay.
To make it to relate it, if you guys are from the WebLogic background, we have something called as an, in the WebLogic, we have something called as an prepared state and active state. Unless until the application isn't in the active state, neither the admins nor the end customers can access the application. The same here also. Okay?
Okay.
Manju, Satish and Venu?
Yeah.
Satish and Venu? Clear? All clear? Okay, cool. So if you want, you can enable it at the time of selecting the application. So by clicking on this, so let me say enable. See, now the application is being deployed. If you want to see, you can just check the logs on how the deployment is happening up. Okay, so I deployed the application. Shiva, what is the guarantee that it is accessible? Very simple. Good question, and we need to validate that. Say HTTP. How do I access the application?
808082 or something.
Okay, 8082. Then if I say 8082, it will take me to the public interface, but not to my application. How do I access my application? Whenever you are not giving any context path on your HTTP port number, by default, okay, it will give us the sorry, if you're not giving any context path on your HTTP port number, by default it will take you to the public interface. So if you want to access your application, give the context path on your HTTP port number or on your public interface HTTP port number. See here, Shiva, good, you know since you are the one who has created this var file, you know whether it will work or not, or what is the context path. How about for us? Okay, what should we do now? If you know the context path, it's very well and good. You can do your initial check and put it as, take the screenshot and put it and share it to your development team, or else you can ask them, okay, because whenever they ask you to do the deployment, okay, they ask you to do that in a maintenance window. So when they're trying to create a maintenance window, they also follow the change management process. Okay, so in that you can ask them, how do you validate it? When the request goes to the CAB approval, you can ask them, how do we try to validate this application to ensure that initially, at least from the initial point of view, the deployment is clear?
Okay, yeah.
Anyone, any questions? Satish, Venu, Manju?
No.
Okay, I have a question. Since you guys don't have any questions, okay, I have a question. What will happen? I'm then in the middle of a deployment. Okay, 8 o'clock is the time where the change window has to happen. I open the browser. Some or the other reason, okay, it's not either it's the admin console is not coming, or either even though the admin console is coming, the username and password which I'm trying to enter, it's not accepting, or either there's some problem at the security settings of my browser which is not allowing me to get into the console. Now I have to do the deployment. What is the scenario? What you people will be doing it? I'm clear? I have to do the deployment. If I have to do the deployment, I have to log into the admin console. When I'm trying to log into the console, either because of the browser dependency, I don't know CLI also. I don't know, frankly speaking, I don't, because I'm very new to the JBoss. I don't even know that there's a concept of CLI. So I have to do the deployment. Okay. Technically speaking, okay. To do the deployment as of now, sorry.
If you put it in the deployment folder, like automatically it will deployment scanner that will do the deployment, isn't it, on the server?
What is meant by deployment scanner?
Like if you put your warfare or anything under the deployment folder, if you have defined the deployment scanner in the XML files run or anything, like whatever you're using the profile.
I mean, if you get,
okay.
How about others? Venu or Satish? Satish, CLI as of now, no. Okay. As rightly said by you people, what we can do is that, assuming that you deploy in the deployment folder and create a file and deploy. Okay. Partly correct, partly not correct. So we'll combine whatever the answer is being told by Manju and Satish, okay, and we'll get the answer. Yep. So in all the scenarios where you don't want to use the GUI tool called as an admin console, or where you cannot use the GUI tool called as an admin console, the JBoss will give you another utility, assuming that you're trying to do the deployment for a standard environment, a folder called as an deployments folder. So how we can do the deployment using the deployments folder? Any application, assuming that your standard instance is available up and running, it's a hot deployment. Any application you are trying to copy it inside the deployments folder, okay, because of a concept called as an deployment scanner. What is this deployment scanner? This deployment scanner is only available in case of a standalone environment. Okay, this deployment scanner is only available in case of a standalone environment. What it does is that, okay, it will try to keep on scanning for every predefined time interval of 5000 milliseconds, which is a default configurable time. Okay, configurable in the sense that if you want, I can change it to 500, I can change it to 50, I can change it to 20, whatever the value I want, I can change it. So what will happen here is that your JBoss application server, okay, the deployments folder, whatever it is there, this deployment scanner, which is a process, it keeps on monitoring, it keeps on checking, okay, whether there is any file, okay, whether there is any file available, the var or er file, whether it is available or not. Okay, if it is available, depending upon the type of extension that file has, according to that the deployment is initiated. Sure, the first point of the deployment scanner we understood. Okay, deployment scanner is nothing but it comes and keeps on scanning my deployment folder for every 5000 default milliseconds, which is configurable one, and if there any file having a particular extension, according to that, that application will be deployed, redeployed, or undeployed. Am I clear, guys?
Mm-hmm.
What we are trying to do is that we are trying to understand how the deployment happens. Okay, so the first way is the simple and easy way. Even a child can also do it. Okay, where you log into the admin console, go to the deployments tab, and say add and deploy the application. Some reason I don't want or I cannot use the admin console. How do I do the deployment? Using the deployments tab. So what we have to do here is that, okay, what we have to do is that we have to copy our var or EAR files under the deployments folder. Depending upon the scanner time interval that is being defined, which is by default 5000 milliseconds. Okay, if I want, I can put it to 500 milliseconds. So for every 500 milliseconds, okay, that is for every 0.5 seconds, okay, my deployment scanner will come and check if there are any contents present inside the deployment folder. Depending upon the contents that are present inside the deployments folder, according to that, what will happen here is that, okay, according to that, depending upon the extension, okay, that the file has, according to that, the deployment will be completed, the deployment will be the deployment file will be redeployed, or the deployment file would be undeployed, or the deployment itself will be skipped. Clear?
Yeah.
Venu and Satish? Okay. So the next question comes, what are the different extensions available and what is this concept is called about? The concept we are discussing now, okay, wherein which I'm saying that depending upon an extension that is being given to a particular var or a deployment file, according to that, okay, I say that the deployment is successful, the deployment file, the deployable file is redeployed, the deployable file is undeployed, or the deployable file itself is skipping the deployment. Okay, that concept I call it as a marker file. Clear? That concept I call it as a marker file. Shiva, where do I get this info? Sorry. Guys, if you don't mind, 1 second. I'm very much habituated to this, Evan. Can I have 1 minute? My brother from US is calling. Just 1 minute. Hi everyone, sorry for that. Yeah. So we have a file collision. Okay. When you open inside the readme.txt, okay, there is something called as a marker file section. Everyone able to see this? Satish, Manju, and Venu.
Yeah.
Okay. So depending upon what is the extension, that particular var file or a deployment file which I'm trying to deploy, okay, according to that, that application will be either deployed or that application deployment would be skipped or that application would be in the process of getting deployed, or if the deployment fails, okay, this is what is the extension will have. So if you want to undeploy the application, then you can keep .undeployed extension. So depending upon the type of the extension that is being given to that particular file, according to that, I can say that the deployment is 100% successful, or the deployment isn't successful, or the deployment will not happen, or the deployment has got failed. Okay. If you want, you can give this particular extension, or else the moment you copy a particular file into the deployment section, automatically the JBoss, when it's trying to do the deployment, okay, when the deployment scanner identifies that there's a file, okay, the deployment scanner will automatically assign the extension. Clear?
Yeah.
But at any point of the time, if you see an extension call as deployed, the application has been successfully deployed. If you see undeployed, the application is getting undeployed, assuming that it's already got deployed. If the see the extension has failed, then then your deployments, your application, okay, would be deployment of that application would be failed. If you see the extension as .pending, then that means to say that the deployment of that particular application is still pending. Clear?
Yeah.
So we'll try to see. I think someone had a question. Venu and Satish, you're clear? Venu and Satish, you're clear? How about you, Venu? You are clear? Any questions? When you're clear and you have any questions? Okay. Silence, I'll assume that you guys don't have any questions. Okay. So if you don't have any questions, okay, let me show you the lab. Okay. It's very simple and very easy one. I wanted to did a pause of my screen sharing. Because I'm trying to make the changes to this var file. Everyone able to understand what I'm trying to do here? So if you see here, as of now, in my deployments folder, I don't have any file, okay, and even in my admin console also, if you see here, I don't have any application, okay. If you see here under my deployments folder, I don't have any application. Everyone able to see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now what I'll try to do is that, okay, I'll just try to copy paste the example one in my deployments folder. If you closely observe, the extension initially got changed to is deploying, and now it changed to deployed. So as we understand from the marker file concept that if there is any extension with .deployed, then that means the application has been successfully deployed. So let's see if I can get it into my deployments folder. You see here, you can see that application. Everyone able to see that? Manju, Satish and Venu?
Yeah. Yeah.
Venu? Okay. So let me refresh it. Oh, sorry. See here? Do you see a difference between the previous one and now?
Yeah.
Anyone, any questions on how do we do the deployment from the GUI and from the deployments folder?
No, it's clear.
Okay. So let me change the extension now. Let me change it to so if you see here, okay, the application has got undeployed. Clear? So when I'm saying that the application has got undeployed, okay, the application, if you see the application under the deployments folder, it should not become, it didn't came in. Sure, let's try to access the application even though it's not there in the deployments folder. Let's see if I can access the application. You're not getting anything, which clearly confirms that the application has been successfully undeployed. Shiva, no, I want to again deploy it. No need to again follow the deployment process. Very simple. Okay. See here, the application is now deployed. Let me refresh the console and also access the application. Isn't it deployed? Yep. See here, now the application has again got deployed. So depending upon the extension you are trying to give, okay, according to that, the application gets deployed, undeployed, or skip deployed. But one good thing here is that, okay, if you see here, one good thing about this deployment is that the deployment scanner is configurable. You can keep it to whatever the value you want, okay? Either you can keep it to the default value of 5000 milliseconds. I gave it the value as 500 milliseconds, but that shouldn't be a problem. Okay? Clear everyone?
Okay.
Anyone any
No.
questions?
No.
Good. So how about others? Satish and Venu? Cool. Cool. So next one is that, okay, as we discussed on the yesterday, okay, we were thought of talking about the subsystem. Okay, if you see here, we got different subsystem. What are the subsystem is all about? Okay, what exactly is run by data source subsystem, JNDS subsystem, web service subsystem? What are all the subsystems are all about? If you see here, the same concept again even will come for you. Okay, so if you see here, even when you open your configuration file, okay, even in your configuration file also, you'll be seeing that particular subsystem tab. So what are all the subsystems about? Okay, the subsystems are nothing but these are the core capabilities. Okay, if you see the subsystem, each and every subsystem has got a set of capability. If you see here, your subsystem called as in data source subsystem, that subsystem is meant to do or to help you to support the database configurations. If you see the logging subsystem will help you to play around with the logging. If you want to modify the logging, if you want to do the log rotation, if you want to change the path of the server.log file, I think Manju was asking me, sure, where do I change how do I change the path of my server.log file? I don't want to give the name called as a server.log file. I want to give the name as manju.log. How do we do that? This is a subsystem we can refer, and we can change the name of the log file or the jboss.server.log.dir. The value of this one, if you see here, it's not coming. No, we have still a couple of more. You see here? What's the value of that one? That's the value of that one is standalone home log directory. If you say that no Shiva, not this one, I want to give any other different part. For example, let's say C JBoss. You change the value here, okay? Automatically your log files will be stored there, and if you want to even change the name of that particular log file, you can change it. Clear?
What if I want to change it in server itself, not on the admin console?
Admin console, you have flexibility to change the path, the value of your jboss.server.log.dir, but you can't change the name of your log file. I think
So the
we can change it. I think one second. I think we can change it. 1 second. Let me just confirm. I think we can change it.
So only in admin console you can change the path.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Okay.
Not only from the admin console, you can change it from the XML file, or you can change it from the CLI, JBoss CLI. Okay. Don't ask me any questions about the CLI as of now. Just take the concept. Clear? Not clear? Okay, okay.
How do you specify the log directory path here in the XML?
Can I hold
I
that
can't
question
see.
till probably till Saturday?
Yeah.
Because we'll be talking about in detail logging on Friday, on Saturday or Sunday. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
in just because uh, the context came in, I was trying to answer that question. But how do we do enable the debug mode? How do we play around with the logging subsystem? Everything we'll discuss in that particular session.
Okay.
Okay. And before I forget, I want to ask you all one more question. Any possibility for you all to be available both in the morning and evening Saturday Indian Standard Time?
Yeah.
Generally,
Fine.
morning time this time will be there, okay? Or if you want, we can postpone it to half an hour late. I don't have any problem, but not to too long, okay? Half an hour is okay for me. But in the evening, what time you guys are available? I want it in the Indian Standard Time. Couple of you are from UK, couple of you are from India, couple of you are from US. So give me the time in India, IST.
I'm fine with any time, Shiva. I just want to complete it. So.
Cool. How about you, Satish? Venu had a confirmation from Venu. How about you, Satish? Any preference the timing? Satish, you have any preference timing for the evening? Anytime is fine. Perfect. So let's try to do one thing. How about 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time? I promise I'll not take for 2 hours. I'll take it for 1.5 hour. Two reasons. First thing is that my body doesn't support for heavy stress. Second thing is that continuous sessions. I'm unsure to what extent you guys are available. So how about 8 p.m. IST? I have confirmation from Venu. Venu is
Yeah.
okay. How about you, Satish and Manju?
Yeah. Fine.
Uh, would you mind if I share the recording? Satish, would you mind if I share the recording? No problem, na? Great. Let me update to SVR right away before we forget. Because I thought of asking this question at the beginning of the session, but somehow I lost the track. I'm asking them to start the recording because if we don't inform them, even though we are all available, it's of no use for us. So let me update to Vasu. Do you want me to keep it 7:30 or 8 a.m. morning? Our regular time or half an hour our regular time? 7:30 or 8? Satish, Venu, Manju, 8. Okay. How about you, Manju? Is it okay if
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
keep it at 8 p.m., 8 a.m.?
Yeah. Yeah. Fine. Yeah.
For you also it will be a little bit better compared to 3 a.m. 3:30 is a lot better.
That's fine. I mean, as I said, I just want to finish as early as possible. So, fine.
If I keep this message in the chat, we are done with our duty. Cool. Okay. So we were trying to talk about the subsystem. So if you see the subsystem, what is a subsystem? Subsystem is the core feature of your JBoss application. Okay. If you see the JBoss application server, depending upon the profile you are trying to pick up, according to that, the number of subsystems would be varied. For example, if you observe here, in case of a standalone, okay, the subsystem, whatever you're trying to see here, okay, are limited. It doesn't have a subsystem called as a cloud clustering or anything related to the clustering. The number of subsystems you're trying to see here are very, very minimal. But in case of a For example, I'm trying to pick up another profile, let's say ha.xml file. Okay, then the number of subsystems for that particular profile are different. So what I want to highlight here is that, okay, if you see the subsystem is the core feature of your JBoss application server. Clear? What is a subsystem? Subsystem are the features or the core capabilities of your JBoss application server. So the number of subsystems are nothing but the number of capabilities of your JBoss application server. What happened? Any issue with port conflict? I think again. Monday. One, yeah, one. Let's skip to. Yeah. Okay. So if you see here, okay, we didn't have anything called as a web subsystem for your default profile. You see that web subsystem now. If still not clear, we can open the ha.xml file. And when you go to the subsystem, okay, it will have the log subsystem, it will have all the subsystem, but apart from that, okay, it will also have some extra subsystem. Okay, what are all the subsystems? Subsystems are nothing but the features of your JBoss application server specific profile. At any point of the time, if I want to configure a data source, there's no need for me to log into the admin console and do it. I can comfortably modify the settings here itself. Okay, I can go to the data source subsystem, okay, and I can modify the configuration related to the subsystem. So if you want to know the list of subsystem, this is one subsystem. Okay, you have another subsystem called as a deployment scanner. I have a question. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Okay. This is a tag called as a deployment scanner. Can you take this tag and copy it inside my domain and ask that, okay, to provide me a capability of the deployment scanner? Everything is an XML based. So can I copy this one and put it inside my domain configuration file and ask that, okay, give me a feature of your deployment scanner? Can I ask that?
You should be able to do that, in my sense.
How about others, Satish or Vena? Can we do that? I'm going to say that, okay, I said that one of the difference between your domain mode and standalone mode is that you have a flexibility to copy your applications inside your deployment folder, and deployment scanner will keep on monitoring this particular folder, and if there is any new deployment file, depending upon the extension that is given, according to that the application will be deployed, it will be in the process of getting deployed, would be undeployed, deployment would be failed, or it will be redeployed. Okay, so this feature isn't there in the domain mode. You have to either use a CLI or either you have to log into the admin console. So I'll open the domain configuration file, and whatever the tag that is there here, okay, called as a deployment scanner, I'll take this and copy it inside your deployment configuration file, and would the deployment scanner concept will work?
I think a deployment scanner, like normally it scans the deployment folder, and then like if you go to the folder, no,
I'll pick a folder called as a deployment folder.
No,
Still, would the deployment can be done?
Because there'll be different, so I mean the server groups and different hosts and stuff like that. So it doesn't know specifically where to deploy, or by default
I'll
maybe
say
it
that
deploys
I'll
to.
give a value for this particular jboss.base.server.dir. I'll give a value. Let's say I'll give a OPT like that. Okay, something like that. I'll give a value. I'll not put any variables. I'll give a value. Maybe the scanner might be active from console. Okay. How about Venu and Manju?
Yeah, that's what I said. Like I think we can do. I'm not sure.
Okay. I want to give an example or take an example. Okay, I'll go back to our SRS example. Okay, when I was there in my school days, as I said, I was very much interested for September 14th or 15th, where the Teachers' Day celebration happens. So I wear a dress, okay, like how a teacher looks. Okay, I used to wear that dress, okay, and I used to go to the office. I used to go to the school. My bad. Okay, so when I'm going to the school, okay, on that day I'll be a student teacher. Would that mean to say that I can conduct the finals and whatever a teacher does, everything can I do it?
No,
Why? I'm a teacher on that particular day. Why can't I do it?
you'll have
Can
only
I?
certain. You are restricted with your role.
On that day I'm not restricted. Can I really do it? Would my principal accept it? He
No.
immediately bang me up left and right. For one day, for that not in that one day also, half a day only we'll have a school. Okay, another half a day we used to do some cultural activities. So as I said, okay,
Hello. Hello. Can you anyone hear me? Can you hear us, Shiva?
hello, yes, you're able to hear me?
Yeah, now we can hear.
I'm really sorry again, my kid. Okay,
Um,
very difficult to hold him. He's around 11 months. Very difficult to
uh,
hold him.
yeah, can understand.
Yeah. And the problem is that after me, he's the only youngest one in our family. Okay. So I can't even say anything to him because if I say anything to him, my mom will kill me out. So what we are trying to talk here is about the deployment scanner. Okay. And as I said, okay, deployment scanner, you can say that Shiva, I'll try to modify it. Okay. the XML file and I'll ask it to work. Still it will not work because when you're trying to modify an XML file of the JBoss has been developed using a programming language called as Java J2W. So when you're trying to modify an XML file, the corresponding Java classes will get executed. Okay, so this Java class also has to have that particular capability, which isn't available by default. So don't try to do that. If you're still not comfortable, just play around with the system, trying to edit the XML file once we are done talking about the domain mode. Clear?
Mm-hmm.
Clear, everyone? Clear, not clear? Okay, okay. Okay, cool. Manju, you're clear? You have any questions?
No, I'm fine.
So this is what is meant by subsystem. Okay, and very important concept. I'm going to say not from the interview point of view again, but from the basics point of view. So if you're clear and if you guys don't have any question, I want to talk about another small concept. I told that, okay, if you're clear, I'm going to say if you guys don't have any question only, I want to talk about it.
Yeah, no questions.
Good. So if you see here, okay, whenever I'm trying to start my JBoss application server, by default, my JBoss application server, all of its configuration files, okay, it picks up from the JBoss standalone path. Okay, this is the location from where it picks up. Okay, any changes I'm trying to make to my JBoss application server, okay, related to my, because I invoke the standalone.sh, it will pick up the standard configuration files present in this particular path. But as I said, my JBoss application supports vertical scaling in the sense that in one machine I can run multiple instances of JBoss application server. So would that mean to say that I go to the bin folder, okay, if I say standalone.sh or standalone.bat, that doesn't mean that it will try to start another instance, okay, it will start giving me an issues, it will start throwing me an error. Why? Because that one also goes to the same JBoss home directory and this one also goes to the same JBoss home directory, which isn't possible. It is a one-to-one relationship. Once you execute a standalone.sh, it will pick up a particular JBoss configuration folder present or defined by the variable called as jboss.server.base.dir. If you want to support your vertical scaling, then you create another standalone home directory. Clear? You're able to get the context?
If you are having multiple instances on that in the same server, how do you differentiate or do you name the JVM instance?
If you see here, when you are having multiple instances of the JBoss running, okay, frankly speaking, if you see the name of the server, if you see the name of the server, I can't change it. Okay, I don't have an edit option either in the XML file or either in the admin console. The name of the JVM instance I can't change it, but the name of my JBoss home directory, my standard home directory, I can modify it. Okay? This is very useful for you whenever you want to say that my company wants to run only in a standalone mode and I want it to support the vertical scaling. If it's in horizontal scaling, no problem, okay, because the reason why is that they'll be present on two different machines, okay, and the port numbers, even though they are same, it's no problem. But if you want to go for a vertical scaling, okay, wherein which all of your standalone instances will be running on the same machine, then the first thing what you need to do is that create another folder for your standalone. For example, let's say this is my standalone. What is the name you can give? We can give the name as Shiva. Clear? Since my existing standalone instance is running on the same machine, and even this new standalone also should run on the same machine. What is the other thing I need to consider? The port numbers. Because by default, all my server instances, okay, would be picking up the default port numbers. How do I know that, Shiva? Very simple. When you go to the standalone.xml file, the standalone.xml file by default will use this particular same port numbers. So what you have to do, either you have to keep on changing to the port numbers to the individual available values, or what you can do is that you can give the incremental value here itself. Clear? To whatever the port number you want to increment or decrement, you can give that value here. But ensure that this port numbers aren't conflicting with anyone else. Clear?
Yeah.
Anyone, any questions?
No.
Clear? Not clear? Okay, okay.
Clear.
Okay, Satish, you're also clear? Great. So this is my first JBoss, which is my first standalone instance, okay, wherein which all the configurations. What happened? Address already in use. Cool, no problem. Good. It started with no issues. Okay, it started. Let me refresh it. Okay. This is something we should be doing it regularly, either in your domain mode or a standalone mode. The concept remains the same, but how do we do it will be varied. Okay. So if you see here,
again, if you add users for this other standalones, the bin directory will be outside the standalone directory, right?
yes,
So
the bin directory will be outside the standalone directory. Yep.
Yeah. When you give the add user or anything, it doesn't take the instance name or like path or anything. It just adds them to the management and the application, right?
Yes.
So how do you know which one to use for what? How do you differentiate?
Okay, you mean to say that, Shiva, I'm trying to say add user.sh. Okay, by default it will pick up the default JBoss home directory. Then what is the scenario right now? Let's say that I have two standalone instances running up. Okay, and this bin directory is outside my standalone directory. So I'm saying add user.sh. Will it go to the default or it will go to the custom?
Yeah. How do you make it go to the custom?
This is something frankly speaking, I never thought about this scenario. Let me just check and come back to you.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, because by default, if you not, the moment you say add user.sh, by default it will pick up the default home directory. And generally, what I used to do is that I used to create my first standalone home directory, and for the other standalone home directories, I used to copy paste the standalone home directory. So in that, we used to get the whatever the application or the management users we want. Okay, but let me just check and come back. In the meanwhile, Satish has a question. Even in the console, whether it takes the default. No. In case of a console, it will definitely take a difference. The reason why is that, okay, this console is accessible on a particular port number. The other console, your custom standalone home folder, will have a different
port numbers.
Will have a different port numbers. So depending upon the port numbers you have got, okay, according to that you'll be accessing the servers. So definitely it will be different. Clear? Okay. So let me start my custom installation one. Okay. See here, both of them got started now. Everyone able to see here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is my standalone home, okay, of my default one. And let me show you in case of a custom. See, admin at the rate 123. See here, the reason why this example2.var file, this username and password coming by default is that I have copied the existing standalone home. So that's reason what are the applications, what are the configurations that are there in that, all of them I'm inheriting here. Clear?
Okay.
So anyone, everyone clear about how do we create the multiple custom standalone home directories?
Yeah.
Any questions, anyone?
No.
Okay, not only this one, okay, but not only this one, if you go to the standalone.xml file, if you see here, by default, my configurations will be picked up from this particular path. If you don't want your configurations to be picked up from this particular path, if you are giving any other configuration directory, provide that particular path here. Okay, say -d and provide that particular path. Okay, similarly, wherever you have seen that there is a default reference, okay, and if you want to change it, you can comfortably change it. Clear?
Okay.
This -ds are very, very important, guys. Okay, generally the Desi people will definitely ask you 1 or 2 questions on this one. Definitely take it for granted. Okay, so anyone, any questions before I break here for today? I thought I'll start the data source, but just I have only 5 minutes, so I don't want to start and break in the middle. Satish, if you see the infinite span is nothing but it's one of the feature or advantage of having the clustering. In a JBoss application server, the one of the clustering capability is your infinite span. I'll talk about that once we are done talking about the domain mode. The next concept would be the clustering itself. Okay, just park your question till there, and if that isn't answered even after the session, you can let me know. Okay, cool. So anyone, any questions?
No.
Cool. All those guests, enjoy the day. Okay, we'll resume back tomorrow, and as I said, this Saturday and Sunday we're having a session at 8 a.m. Indian Standard Time in the morning and 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time in the evening. I'll definitely ensure that in the night I'll not take for more than 1.5 hours, but sometimes if the topic like this topic, data source, which could be completed in 45 minutes, okay, if that short topic is left out, I'll try to take it for 2 hours. Please bear with me. Okay?
Okay, sure. Thanks.
Thanks. Thanks everyone. Bye. Good night.
Bye.
And good day.
Yep. You too.